Today I'll be showing you the basics of Audacity, and this is what it looks like on the desktop. And to start things off, I'll show you some of the basic tools you'll be needing to do some really simple editing. So, of course, you have pause, play, stop, rewind, fast forward, and record. I think everybody knows those. Here we have the selection tool, which is what you'll probably be using most of the time because it allows you to highlight, put your cursor in certain places to start, things like that. And then here you have the time shift tool, which allows you to drag whole tracks to either move them around, maybe behind other pieces or things like that. But I'll demonstrate how you use both of those a little bit later on. Here you have your volumes. This is obviously the output, and this is the input, the mic. Here you have the scissors for cut, copy, and paste. This is undo and redo. And then here you have the magnifying glasses. This one allows you to zoom in, and this one zooms out. And of course, you have your toolbar up here with file, edit, view, and so on. You'll mostly use file and edit, and then of course effect, which is where you'll be able to pick from certain effects, but I'll get into the details of these a little bit later on. So now we'll get into importing and exporting music. So there are two basic ways you can import music. One would be to go up to File, down to Import, and over to Audio. And then you can go find whatever file you like. And at this point, I just double click it and it starts to import. Another way, which is probably the most simple way, would be to just drag the file in. So here's a music file here on the desktop. I'll just drag it in. And it's as simple as that. And then to export, I will go down to File. Oh, I'm on the Finder. I will go to File, down to Export. And from here, I'd be able to adjust the name of the file, make sure this says MP3, go to Options, make sure this says 256 kbps, which it should say, and then from there you be set, and I would just press save. But we're not ready to export anything just yet, but that's basically how you import and export things from Audacity. Now we'll get into recording and editing. So before you record anything, there are two things you want to make sure you're doing. You want to make sure that your output is going to headphones, because otherwise it'll come through the monitor and then it'll pick back up through your microphone and you'll get this terrible echo that you cannot edit out. So before you do anything, you want to make sure you have headphones plugged in. The next thing is that you have a microphone plugged in. Now you guys will be using a microphone connected to our mixer, but regardless, you want to make sure that whatever you're recording through is plugged into the monitor. Otherwise, you'll be recording on the monitor's microphone and it's really not the best quality. So you want to make sure your headphones are in and your mic is connected. Now when you record things on Audacity, it creates a track just like this, and every time you do it, it creates a different track. So I could record from right here with this track live or basically unmuted, and if my headphones are plugged in, this song would play in my headphones as I'm recording, which can be useful sometimes depending on what you're recording, but for this purpose I'm going to mute it. So that means basically when I hit record, I won't be able to hear it. and I'll just press record, test, test, test. As you can see, it's picking up what I'm saying here. And then if I hit stop, I have my recorded piece. Now, if I was to hit record again, you see that it's creating this piece on a completely different track. And through my headphones, I can hear this piece. So those are my 2 tracks, and if I wanted to, edit any further, I could move this up here or, coordinate them to all sound good. I can turn down this volume so that the song isn't really loud behind me. I can turn me up. Quite a few other things I could do. Now we'll get into editing. A few things you'll need to know how to do in order to edit whatever you're working on include splitting tracks, joining tracks, and dragging them. So I'll demonstrate all of them for you now. I'm just going to unmute this. Now, to split tracks, all you need to do is make sure you have your selection tool and then place the cursor wherever you'd like to split the track. So I'm just going to put it here. Then I would go up to edit, down to clip boundaries, and over to split. And you can see there's this thick black line here, and that lets me know that these tracks are separated at that point. Now, if I wanted to join the tracks, I would make sure my selection tool is highlighted, and then I would select this section. Doesn't matter how much or how little, as long as parts of this track and this track are selected and the point where they're split is somewhere in between. So I could have done this much, or I could have done this much. And then I go back to edit, down to clip boundaries, and this time I'd go to join. It's as simple as that. Now I'm going to undo this to show you how you could separate these tracks. So now they're split, but if I was to play this, it wouldn't sound like it because they're right next to each other. So if I go to my time shift tool, then I can drag this track. And if I wanted to, I can move this track down here. The thing about moving tracks down or up, you have to make sure you're at the end of wherever you're trying to move the track. So I couldn't do this, but I can make sure it's down here past the end of the first track and then move it up. So, and then of course if I wanted to, I could join these two. So I just move this down, highlight, join. Just like that. And I'm going to undo this. Move this back. And then I could also easily join these tracks by clicking this thick black line. But you want to be careful of that, because sometimes if you don't really want to join the tracks and you accidentally do that, it will join them. So just be mindful of that. If you know you have separate tracks all on the same line, keep an eye out for that thick black line.
If it make you wanna jam, keep bouncing in. Fuck a brand, put an wanna jam, keep bouncing in. Fuck a brand, put an in. Fuck a brand, put an ounce in it. Fuck a brand. If it make you wanna jam, keep bouncing in. Fuck a gram, put an ounce in it. If it make you wanna jam, keep bouncing in. Fuck a gram, put an ounce in it.